In this video, we are going to have a look at strings, and these are the topics which will be covered in the video. So we'll start with explaining what a string is, then we'll move on to creating strings, then we'll have a look at some of the common string class methods, and in the end we'll go through the concept of immutability. So these are the topics which will be covered in the video. So let us start with string. A string is basically a sequence of characters. So YouTube can be a string, @Facebook can be a string. Just notice there that @ here is a special character. So a string can consist of special characters. Then consider this sequence of characters, this has a space. So a space is also a character basically. So any sequence of characters. 4th of July is a string. It can have numbers. So special characters, spaces, alphabets, numbers all constitute a string. So any sequence of characters is equals to a string. Now we are concerned about how strings are represented in Java. In Java, strings are represented by the string class, and objects of this particular class are created to store the sequence of characters which we now know are called strings. So there is a string class, and objects of this class are created to store the strings. Now how does one go about creating a string? So for example, your string is John. So first you start with defining the data type, say string. We all know that we need to create a string, so we'll first write string, then we'll write the name. So notice here that this is the name of the variable or the object that will store the string. So basically a reference variable or an object that will store the string. So I have taken that name of reference variable as name itself because I am storing a name John in it. So string name is equals to John. Have a look at this, that John is basically a string, the sequence of characters enclosed within double quotes, and I'm storing that to the reference variable name. So what will happen is that an object of John will be created and the reference variable name will point towards that object. So this is how basically a string is created, and this is creating a string using the assignment operator. So we'll again have a look. Start with defining the data type, that is string or the class string. Then write the name of the reference variable or the object, which I have taken name itself, and use the assignment operator to assign it to the string. So and enclose the string within double quotes. Enclose the sequence of characters within double quotes. So a string John will be created and name will be pointing towards John. Another alternative way to create a string is exactly how we create objects. So exactly objects are created. Exactly basically how objects are created. So objects are created using the new operator. So we'll just write string n. Here consider the name of the string is n and string is the data type as we saw previously, or the string here in this is the class. Then create a new object from that class, that new string, and pass the sequence of characters to it. Similarly, here we can see the name is n. We are using the new operator to create a new object. Then to the constructor we are passing the sequence of characters Jack. So like we saw previously, here new strings Jill and Jack will be created. Initially n was pointing to Jill. In the second step n will point to Jack. So in the first step n reference variable or the object will point to a Jill object will be created and n will point to Jill. And when you write the second line, n will stop pointing to Jill and n will now point to Jack. So this is just another way of creating strings. Let us now have a look at some of the important methods of a string class. So which an object can access. So suppose I have a string, say California. So California. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the numbering starts from 0. So the character at third position will be I, the character at sixth position will be R, the character at ninth position will be A. So if the length of the string is 10, the indexing of the string will be 0 to 9, the indexing of the characters of the string. So we always start from 0, whether consider arrays or whether consider strings. So what will be the character at second position? It will be L. So similarly we have this method called char@. It takes the argument as an integer, which is the kth position, and it returns a character. So suppose if we write California, our string California dot char@ say 6, so it basically returns R. So it will return a small r. I have just taken, just to make things clear, I have written everything in caps lock, but it will return a small r, and this is how the character at method works, that it basically returns a character at position k. Now as we saw previously that the length of our string is 10, so it contains 10 characters. So that is where the length function comes into place. The length function just returns an integer, which is basically the length of the string. So if I have a string position is equals to president, and if I do position dot length, I give int L is equals to position dot length. So position dot length will return the length of the string president, which has 9 characters. So the value of L will be 9 because the length of the string is 9. So basically this method just returns the length of the string, and the type which it returns is integer. So it will just return the number of characters in the string. Now another two interesting methods are two lowercase and two uppercase. So as I saw previously, I'll take the same string, let string location is equals to California. Make sure that your sequence of characters are enclosed within double quotes. And this is an N, not an M. Sorry for the bad handwriting. So let string location is equals to California. Now what I want is, like the previous example in which I manually wrote everything in uppercase, I want basically my string to be converted into uppercase characters. So what I'll do is I'll use the toUpperCase function and it will give me a string. So now if I have to convert everything into uppercase, what I'll do is that location now is equals to location dot to uppercase. So it will return me a string which will be equal to making each and every character in this string to its uppercase character. So it will return me a string like this. And that will be stored to location. As in that will be the object which location will be pointing to. Similarly, to lowercase, what it does is it basically converts each and every character into lowercase. So if you do now location dot to lowercase, you'll get the initial string which was California and lowercase characters. So these are the two interesting methods, which are to lowercase and to uppercase. Now sometimes I want to search something within a string and I want to know that where exactly the characters which I'm looking for appear in the string. So suppose the string is who is John Galt. Now I want to find the first occurrence of the string Galt. I'm searching for someone by the surname Galt and I want to basically look into the string that where does Galt appear. So what I'll do is, suppose the string is being stored in question. So I'll do question dot index of, that's a capital O, small I, capital O, index of Galt. What it will return me is, it will return me the first occurrence of this string. So basically it will, so if I start numbering this string, so 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, so it will return me the integer 12, saying that on the 12th index, on the 12th position, Galt first appears. So that is how the method index of is used. Now notice that instead of string you can also have a character. So if I only wanted to find the position of G, then I would have gotten the same answer 12, but it would just have been for the character. But here I'm searching for the string Galt. So it gave me that the Galt string appears on the 12th position. Now, one of the things which you must have noticed in the previous example was how I wrote location. So when I wrote location as, say, California, and when I used the function to uppercase into it, then I was again assigning location is equal